Metro Radio.
You can keep your croissants and your frog legs, your Eiffel Tower and your Arc de Triomphe. Newcastle's got Ant and Dec, Stotties, Greg's, Peas Pudding and 3 points in the Champions League. Yes, Eddie Howe's mighty Magpies smashed the French superstars PSG 4-1 last night, sending 52,000 Geordies into raptures at St James's Park.
Oh, mate, we're winning a lot, us, you know. 4-1 against PSG. On Baby who? This is the real league where the Geordie boys are. We're taking over.
Like 2 years ago when we were going to the match and we didn't win a game in 14 games, was it? Honestly. And then Eddie Howe came in, we got the new signings, we started picking up form. It's just amazing.
Just some of the fans after the final whistle blew there. Newcastle are top of the Champions League group with 4 points. Eddie Howe says this win will show his players that they do belong.
It's an amazing place to play football regardless of the competition, but I think there was an extra level tonight. Personally, I always say this is a very difficult thing to rank. I never spend time doing it. You're just always on to the next challenge, but I hope there's a lot more nights like this to come.
Another news this morning, police say witnesses in Sunderland will be vital to solving a murder investigation. 54-year-old Ian Langley died in hospital on Tuesday night after being attacked by an XL bully dog on Maple Terrace in Shiny Row. A 44-year-old man is in custody on suspicion of murder. Formula milk is now regularly being rationed at baby banks because of increasing demand. Many centres around the North East support low-income families. They say they're struggling to cope with a surge in the number of parents coming forward. It's being blamed on the high price of baby formula, which is being investigated by the competitions regulator. Quickly back onto football for you. Sunderland were also in action last night. They were playing in the Championship. They beat Watford 2-0 at the Stadium Light. Tony Mowbray's side are 4th in the table. And finally, who doesn't love a good motorway service station? The rankings for the good and the bad are out this morning. The best is the rugby services on the M6 in Warwickshire, but the one to give a wide berth to, apparently, is off the M62 in West Yorkshire. After a survey of 30,000 people, that one ranked the worst.
Weather. Spread the cost on your next summer holiday. Book now at Dawson and Sanderson.
Dry and cloudy start for most of us across the northeast today. We can expect some light rain showers at times, highs about 15. That's your latest. I'm Micky Welch.
Metro Radio.
Do me a favour, do not tell my boss I'm about to do this, because I'm about to rip up the news rulebook this morning. It's because Baker Grove is coming back to our screens. 17 years since it last appeared on TV, War Ant and Dec have decided it is due a reboot. Hopefully, they'll keep the iconic theme tune. This time round, it's just going to be called Baker. It'll be filmed in and around our glorious northeast. It's unclear whether Ant and Dec will make cameo appearances in the show, but we definitely know they've still got the acting chops. Do you remember last year? We made them recreate the famous paintballing scene for us.
He cannot see, man.
I'm blind.
Cannot see.
I'm blind.
That was gotta be.
I'm blind.
I think that was our breakout moment.
Top quality acting, that's what that was.
Well, meanwhile, a bit more TV news. Sunderland Lioness Jill Scott has been confirmed as a team captain on the Sky panel show, A League of Their Own. A big statue of hers being unveiled next to the Angel of the North today. We've been down to see her. She's a big friend of Ant and Dec after she won I'm a Celebrity last year, so we asked her, is she going to be watching the new series of Baker?
Yeah, I will actually. I will be watching it. Maybe I can try and get a little cameo role or something.
Now, a woman has been attacked whilst out running in Sunderland. The victim in her 40s was approached from behind, grabbed and left with neck injuries. She managed to run to a service station and call police. The incident happened on Dame Dorothy Street in the early hours of last Friday. Only 1 in 10 spiking victims across the North East would report their incidents to police. That's what our investigation this week into the underreported crime has found. Claire Daff has been spiked 3 times in our region. She told us about part of one night when it happened, when she was in a takeaway shop.
This pizza man knew who I was and knew who my partner was at the time. 3 men had come into the pizza shop and said, "Oh, it's all right, mate, we'll take her home. We know who she is." Luckily, this pizza man knew that I didn't know. I didn't even know my own name. I didn't know where I was or anything.
More about our investigation online. And finally, another reminder about the traffic getting into Newcastle from Gateshead. The Central Motorway northbound is likely to be closed for the rest of this week. It's after that massive fire in a derelict building last Wednesday, which has caused structural damage.
Weather. With the Metro Radio app, hit play on an hour of non-stop throwbacks whenever you want it.
Dry and bright start for many of us across the northeast, but there is showers likely as the day goes on. That's your latest. I'm Micky Welch.
Metro Radio.
It's the unofficial National Geordie Day. No, it's not a real thing, but I wish it was. It's the 9th of June and there's some massive things happening in Newcastle, so let's just declare it Geordie Day. It's the first of 2 huge Sammy Fender shows at St James's Park tonight. Bars and restaurants and pubs around the city are going to be rammed. Here's Ben Whitfield from Anyone.
Fantastic weekend for Newcastle with the concerts at St James's Park. Totally sold out, expecting huge crowds and just this influx of people into the city to enjoy the gigs, but also then enjoy the rest of what the city has to offer.
And also tonight, it's the Bladen Races. The almost 7-mile road running race starts on the quayside just after 7 o'clock this evening. The iconic route dates all the way back to the 1800s. We've been catching up with the race director, Tony Apicella.
Well, I think it reminds people of our heritage and it has tradition, and it's all to do with what those people did when they went to the Bladen Races.
Now, the investigation into a massive fire that's destroyed a derelict Grade 2 listed building in Newcastle picks back up today. A man's been arrested on suspicion of arson. Henderson Hall is a former Uni Halls residence. It was engulfed in flames yesterday. We spoke to people who lived nearby.
You can hear the slates and everything.
As you say, when we were kids, on bonfire night, the students used to come out around the estate, and all the kids on the estate get together, pull all the stuff up to the top, bonfire.
Police are continuing to work out what drove a man to inflict life. Now, forget Biggie versus Tupac, Blur versus Oasis, or even Threads versus Twitter. The real beef on the streets is Los Angeles versus North Shields.
Coachella have got the copyright for Coachella, and we didn't realise that it would be any sort of problem. We thought a little bit tongue-in-cheek.
John Peacock there, he had to change the name of his music festival, Coastella, because the people behind Coachella actually got in touch. They sent a cease and desist letter which left John and his team flabbergasted.
We were told that we weren't allowed to sell merchandise, Coastella merchandise. We weren't allowed to put up banners with Coastella on. We basically had to stop using the name on all of our copy on social media.
And they did. They changed the name to Coast Fest. It was a huge hit over the weekend, and it will be back next year.
Metro Radio.
Bonjour mon ami, je m'appelle Micky Welch et j'habite à Newcastle où les Paris Saint-Germain est le visiteur de Ligue des Champions d'Histoire. Wow, getting a B in GCSE French has finally paid off. Yes, it's the biggie tonight. Newcastle are taking on Paris Saint-Germain in the Champions League at St James's Park. Eddie Howe's team welcomed global superstars like Kylian Mbappe to Tyneside.
I never think it's down to one player, or I don't believe in that.
This wasn't enough in the FA Trophy final. Halifax Town won 1-0 in the end. Meanwhile, I was speaking to Alicia Keys last night and I was telling her that Newcastle needed just 2 points to qualify for the Champions League. But you know what she said to me? She was right. They just need 1 point. Eddie Howe's team play at Leicester at St James's Park this evening. His side are being compared to some of the great teams of the past.
There's shock across the northeast after the tree at Sycamore Gap, one of the UK's most well-known, was cut down in what's been described as a deliberate act of vandalism. Our reporter Micky Welch has the latest.
I got to be honest, Tom, this is one of the most shocking stories that I've probably ever had to cover. This morning I was sent a message asking if I'd seen what had happened to the Sycamore Gap tree in Northumberland, and when I looked into it, it was utter disbelief. When the images from the scene emerged online, we literally had thousands of people getting in touch, all with the same reactions: shock, disbelief and anger.
Unbelievable. I just don't know what people are thinking.
What goes through somebody's mind to think they can do such a thing?
Now, this tree's been an important and iconic feature in the landscape of Northumberland for nearly 200 years. It's appeared in films like Kevin Costner's Robin Hood. Bryan Adams had it in one of his music videos. People have painted it, photographed it, and no doubt proposed to their partners next to it. Now, all that's left is a clean-cut stump with the remains of the sycamore lying nearby.
Yeah, it's a real shame.
Pure sadness for the state of humanity that people can feel moved to do this.
Well, today we've had messages from MPs, councillors, environmental groups, nature reserves and more, all expressing their disbelief and disgust at what happened today. Northumbria's Police and Crime Commissioner Kim McGuinness has visited the site and she says this tree can never be replaced.
It's something that defines us, up there with the Tyne Bridge and the Angel of the North. Almost grief at the fact that it's gone.
The site remains cordoned off. Northumbria Police have told us that a 16-year-old boy has been arrested as part of their investigation.